Right, you can see there it's another sitting week, so it's the second of the 2 weeks we have in August, and the first one started just as fiery as the last one ended. To discuss the detail now, I'm joined by National Editor of The Australian, Dennis Shanahan. Well, I made the point, we sort of ended up today where we left on Thursday. We had Teal MP Zali Steggall hurling that racist slur across the parliament at Peta Dutton. Today she's doubled down on that accusation. Labor too, Dennis, refusing to reject her cheap shot. They're instead using the chamber today to ramp up the rhetoric. Here's the Immigration Minister, Tony Burke, once again.
And you only have to look at the time delay. Like, it wasn't much more than the 6-second delay on radio between Mike Burgess as the Director-General of ASIO telling people to cool the temperature before this guy runs along with a bucket of kerosene saying, "Where can I throw it on the fire?" But if he's willing to sacrifice the national security interests of Australia to try to get a grab up in social media now, then that's his motive. It's not the government's motive. That's his motive. It's not my motive.
Now, I'm not surprised by Steggall. I think she lacks intellect and finesse, but she's a bit player in all of this, Dennis. Labor, that's another story. I would have thought out of the Voice they would have learnt a lesson when they accused Peta Dutton of racism, echoing, as he does, legitimate community concern here. They lose people, but they've gone at it again, and we can see today in that freshwater poll in the Australian Financial Review, the voters are punishing the government on the issue of immigration and national security, aren't they?
They are indeed, and what I like about the freshwater polling is it has these issues each time. So it's not just a time off, there's a complete line on what people regard as the most important issues and how they rate the government handling them. What is interesting in the freshwater poll, apart from a two-party preferred preference for the coalition, second time in a row, but it's the issues and the issues of immigration and asylum seekers, national security, the related issue of crime. All of these measures have gone down for Labor and up for the coalition in the last since the last poll. So what we are seeing is that the government is trying to say, look away, don't look here, nothing happening. But Peta Dutton, I think, has hit a responsive nerve amongst the public about this. He is saying that he is asking a reasonable question, as he did on the Voice to Parliament. He is saying, give us some facts, and all we will do is ask for a pause on immigration and tourist visas from Gaza. Now, I think it's beginning to cut through, and the freshwater poll demonstrates that Labor's going backward on that issue to join all the key issues on cost of living, economy and housing. So the government is well behind the coalition in that freshwater poll.
Phil Coorey, who's written it up, makes the point that Labor's spinning their wheels. They are. They're 32% primary, is sort of back where they were 2 and a bit years ago. Now, they've had the megaphone of government. They've spent billions and billions and billions of dollars trying to deal with cost of living and clearly failing in the eyes of voters. If you look across that issues graph again, we'll put it up on the screen, you can see nowhere there are they getting above 30% in terms of their carriage of the issues. The coalition's beating them. A couple of points there, the coalition's well into 40% of voter support. With a 40 in front of its primary vote, Dennis, this is exactly where the coalition needs to be if they've got a chance at actually winning the next election.
The coalition has to definitely have a 4 in front of it in its primary vote. Look, things have changed. It used to be, the coalition, if it had 42, 43, it would win an election on primary vote. If the ALP had just 40, it could win with preferences. But really, remember, the Labor Party won with 33% of the primary vote at the last election. There are a large number of teals. It's not just the polling and the aggregate vote. Peta Dutton has to win a large number of seats before he can even hope to form a minority government. So it's certainly not over all red rover for Labor, and I think that what we're actually looking at is a continuation of Labor's lack of impact. It had a great first 12 months. It's had a fairly scratchy second 12 months, and what it's in danger of now is falling behind just as it goes into the final 8 months of government. I think that those polling figures show real problems for Labor, but it's not out of the woods for the Liberals.